What's up, guys? It's Josh back with another video, and today we're diving into the world of self-hosting with Nextcloud. And if you're looking to take control of your own cloud storage, this video is for you. We're going to install Nextcloud on Ubuntu server 24.04 and get it up and running. So let's jump right into it. All right, so first things first, let's talk a bit about what Nextcloud is and why you might want to use it. Nextcloud is a powerful open source software that lets you host your own cloud storage. It's like having your own personal Dropbox or Google Drive, but with full control over your data. It's perfect for those who are privacy conscious or just want to have a custom solution tailored to their needs. Now, one of the biggest advantages of using Nextcloud is privacy. When you're using commercial cloud services, your data is stored on someone else's server, and you have to trust that they're keeping it safe and private. With Nextcloud, you own your data. It stays on your server and you control who has access to it. Now, Nextcloud offers features like file storage, calendar, contacts, and even collaboration tools like OnlyOffice. It can effectively replace many Google services, giving you alternatives for Google Drive, Google Calendar, and Google Contacts. Plus, it's super flexible and extensive with tons of plugins and integrations. So let's get started with the install. All right, so I'm connected to my virtual machine. This is Ubuntu 24.04, a fresh installation. And the first thing you want to do is update your server. This is something that I say every time you install any new piece of software, you want to run your updates. Make sure it's up to date all the way, and then proceed with the installation of whatever you're installing on the system. So let's run sudo apps updates, and then I'm gonna run it together. I know it doesn't have any updates because when I did the install, I went through the upgrades after that, but it may be one or two because I actually did the install last night, but shouldn't have any updates for this system. Yeah, and we don't. Cool. So we're good to go. Now, next we need to install some dependencies. We'll be using Apache as our web server. And then also, I'm gonna switch things up and use MariaDB for our database, and also PHP. Now, you can use MySQL if you're more comfortable with MySQL. It's pretty much the same, but I'll just switch it up this time so you guys can see something a little different, because I always show you guys the LAMP stack, which is Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. But you can also substitute MySQL for MariaDB. Now, I already have all the packages laid out, so all you have to do is type sudo apt install, and I'm gonna paste all the packages in there just to make it a little bit simpler so you guys can see. But let's go through each one of them. So we're installing Apache and then MariaDB, and then these are some modules for PHP, MySQL, PHP client, PHP, just basically all the PHP packages that you would most likely need for the system. Also, I'm installing unzip because we'll need that in a couple minutes, but let's go down and press enter and we'll go through and install this. And what I'm gonna do later on is create a post on my blog website with all these commands, or I'm gonna put them in the description of the video. That way you can grab the commands, copy and paste. I know some people complain about it, but like I said in the past, I'm a one-man operation. So we're keeping up with a website, producing all this content and videos and stuff like that. So it's hard for me to keep up with it, but it's no excuse. I should be putting this information out there if I'm talking about it, just to make it easier for you guys. But anyway, while all this is installing, let's go down and switch over to the website right fast. I wanted to show you guys Nextcloud. So this is nextcloud.com. This is where you can get the software from. You can set up a on-premise cloud platform at the house. This is an example of what it looks like. They have a lot of resources. That's one thing I really wanted to talk about because it made me think about it when I'm copying the commands. This is where I go to get the information that I need in order to create these videos. I'll put together all the commands based on the documentation. So if you guys don't see me post a blog post, you can always go to the website, which I always have the website there, and you can check out the admin manual, the user manual, all that good stuff. And this will walk you through the installation and pretty much everything about it. So if you go down in here, this will break everything out for you. So look at this. It breaks out the operating systems that you can use, what you can use, like as far as the database. So you need MySQL or MariaDB. Either one will work. It gives you the versions to install, Oracle or PostgreSQL Lite. Apache 2.4 at least, and then they also ask for particular modules, which that's why I included some of those modules when I created my commands that I put into a text file in order to copy and paste as I go through. And if you look right in here, there is an example installation for Ubuntu. This is where I got all those packages. So sudo apt install, we got Apache, MarianDB server, and a lot of the modules that I had there. So boom, you'll see the exact same packages right here. And this goes through the full install. And as you can see, they use MySQL, or actually you use MySQL for MarianDB in order to log into it. But you want to come here and this will give you all the information you need in order to install it. So it looks like our installation is complete of all our packages. So let's switch back over to the terminal right fast and we can move right along with the install. And since we installed our packages, our main package, like our web server, which is Apache, what you want to do is make sure Apache is running. So you can type sudo systemctl, and then you can always check the status, which I didn't have to write sudo for it, but I just wrote it anyway. It doesn't matter. But here we go. So it's active and running and enabled. And you just want to check this just to make sure the server is running. And enabled right here means that whenever you reboot the server, it'll start up Apache service each time. So we good to go right there. But we also want to check our database. And we install MarianDB. So let's go and check the status of that. But yeah, it says status, taking your SQL request now. So it is active, enabled, running, all that good stuff. So let's go and quit that and we're good to go. So let's go and clear the screen. And the next thing you want to do is secure MySQL or MarianDB. There is a script. There's that built-in script, just like when you install MySQL, which I showed you guys on the LAMP stack video. There is that same script for MarianDB. And then underscore secure installation. So let's go on and do this right fast. So enter the current password for roots. There is no password for it. You can switch to the Unix socket authentication. And let's go on and press enter and then change our root password. Yeah, let's go on and change it because it's nothing there. And so I'll just type in something secure for it. You want to make sure it's secure and you want to write these passwords down. This is your root account, but you need to get in here and create another user for Nextcloud. And so let's go through the rest of the cleanup of MarianDB. And essentially what this is doing is setting up the server so it's production ready and you don't have to worry about it. And so all you gotta do is press enter. It's gonna remove anonymous users, disallow root login remotely, yes. Remove the test database and access to it, yes. And reload privileges table, press yes, or press enter for yes. So we're good to go. All right, now that our server is secure, let's go on and log into our server. And all we have to do is type sudo, then MySQL, and then -u for user, and we're gonna log in using a root account, and then -p for password. It's gonna access for our password. And if you guys are interested in learning MySQL, I do have a course on my channel. It's like a 2-hour course or an hour course that goes through everything dealing with SQL. So you guys can check that out if you want to. It'll work for MarianDB or MySQL, whichever one you decide to use. So let's go and type in our root password, press enter, and we're logged into it now. And we have to do a couple things in here. And this is basically creating a database as well as a user that can log into that database with the right privileges and all that stuff. So all we have to do is type create and then database. And like I said, you guys can name your database whatever you want. I'm gonna just name it Nextcloud. And then at the end of your SQL statement, you gotta put a semicolon, press enter. It'll create our database. Now let's create a user that has access to this. So create user, and then we have to put this in single quotes. And so let's name it what we want. I'm gonna just make it NC user. And then we have to put the @ symbol because we need to specify where this user can log in, and single quotes again. And this is local host identified by, and this is when you want to type in a password for it. So what I'm gonna do is just use capital PASSWORD 1 2 3 4 5. There we go. So that should work for us. And then we put a semicolon at the end, press enter, and that'll create that user for us. It's called NC user. And you want to make sure you write that down. You want to make sure you remember that. Put that somewhere, and actually what I'm gonna do is copy it because we're gonna need it when we actually set up our Nextcloud server. I'll show you guys where to put that. All right, next we need to grant privileges. So it's grants all privileges on the Nextcloud database, and then all tables. So we could put a store in there as a wildcard. That's for everything under that database. So tables and all. So the database as a whole. And then we need to specify our account, which is that NC user. So NC user, and then we need to put the @ symbol, and then our location, which is localhost, and then semicolon at the end, press enter, boom. And then lastly, we can flush our privileges and semicolon at the end, boom. That'll flush the privileges, and then all we have to do is type exit, press enter. That'll get us out the server. So we basically have our database set up for the server. All right, so let me switch back over to the browser. I want to show you guys how to get it. So if you hit download, or it doesn't matter where you are, but if you can go to Nextcloud server for self-hosting on your server. So you can click there to get to it, and then you have a couple downloads here. So you got a one-click sign up. This is if you're using a cloud provider. Let's ignore that, but you got your enterprise solution. And that's one cool thing about Nextcloud, is actually used by enterprises, which I find super dope. They can host their own enterprise Nextcloud solution for their organization. Let's see, they got Docker images, which we're not going to use that. All-in-one VM image, and it's AIO Docker image. You can run it in VirtualBox, so good to go. And then also the community project. Now, one thing about it, I haven't tried this yet, but they have a web installer. You basically just drop a PHP file in there, and that will set up the whole server for you, at least based on my knowledge of reading it. Like I said, I haven't tried it. Maybe some other people have tried it, but all you have to do is upload a setup nextcloud.php file that you're going to download right here, and then point your web browser to the setup page. I'm guessing it will install MySQL or MariaDB on your server. I guess it has all that written in there, like a whole bunch of if statements to find out what your server is set up as, and then set everything up for you. Like I said, I haven't done it before, I haven't used it, so you guys can check that out if you want to. And then you can get the archive, you can get a zip file or your Tor. All you have to do is right click here, copy link address, and then we can use wget to get the actual files down on the server. And this will be the latest release. And then you also have your MD5 hashes, SHA-256, so you can verify that you're getting it from the right location, and you can verify the files that you have, just to be safe. So let's switch back over to the terminal and get it installed. Let me clear the screen right fast. All you have to do is use wget, which wget comes pre-installed on your Ubuntu server, and we can paste our link in there that we just copied off the site, and this will download it directly to your server. That way you don't have to download it on your system using the browser and then upload it to the server. You use wget, just copy the link that's directly to the download, and you can download the file and you're good to go. Okay, so now that we got our file, I'm gonna just ls this directory so you guys can see it. It's the latest 4.2, and let's go down and extract it. This is an archive. Just so you guys know, if you're new to Linux, you probably never seen this, but this is a tarball, and you have to use a command in order to extract it. So we're gonna type tor. I'm gonna just give you guys the command, but xjvf, and then our latest, and I'm gonna just tab it out, but that will extract it to the current location. All right, so it looks like that didn't work. I'm gonna go back and get another link right fast. Let's check out the older versions, major releases. All right, the latest one is 29. Yeah, let's copy from here. So copy link, and then let's do a wget. And let me switch back over to the terminal, and I accidentally clicked something, so just ignore that. But let's go down and go back, and this will download that specific version. So go down, press enter, let that download. Yeah, and I'm not sure what the issue is with that file, but let's ls again, just see what the, yeah, okay. All right, so let's run the Tor, and then let's run it against this Nextcloud, just make sure this works, hopefully. Nope, it's not working. And so it looks like that's not working either. So let me just try the zip file. Let's try that, see what happens. So let's copy link address, and then go back over to our terminal, and let's do the wget again. And sorry, I just want to show you guys the issue, so if you run into it, you'll know what it is. But we do have zip installed. That was one of the packages that we installed. I wasn't sure if we were going to need it, and actually I believe we need unzip. Hopefully that's on here. Should come with unzip. Yeah, it does come with unzip. So unzip, and then let's tab this out so we can see, yeah, Nextcloud. There we go, .zip. There we go. So the zip file actually works. That is so weird. And maybe I was doing something wrong, but I'm gonna leave this in here so you guys can see that, yeah, I run into issues too. And so if we ls this directory now, we should see a Nextcloud folder. That's what I was looking for. So let's go and remove some of those. Just to get rid of them. And then let's tab it out. And then our Tor file, we want to get rid of that one. But I'll keep the zip. So we ls again, we'll see it's just those two files. But I'm glad this happened, so I can make sure if you guys run into this issue, you can know how to solve it. Just get the zip. Either one of them will work. you know what I'm saying? Just get the zip. I'm not sure why the Tor is not working, but it's not working for me. And I might be using the Tor command wrong. I believe I'm using it right from what I remember. And I just didn't want to troubleshoot it. But we got the zip, we got the package, so we're good to go. All right, so now that's done. It's unzipped and everything. What you want to do is copy that directory. That's why I LS'd again. But all you have to do is move. You can actually move the directory over there, our Apache directory, where all our web files are stored, which are under var, www, and then HTML. And we're just going to put it under our HTML directory, which is fine. So if you type in our IP address and then the folder name of Nextcloud, it'll open up this site. Type in our sudo password because we don't have rights over there. But let's go on and also make some changes to the ownership as well as the permissions of that actual directory. So we have to type sudo chown and then -r for recursive. And let's change the ownership to wtech data, and then also the group to www.tech data. And then we want to specify that directory. So var www and then HTML and then Nextcloud. It'll capture the top layer of the folder all the way down to the lowest file within the directory tree of Nextcloud, that Nextcloud directory. So let's go and press enter. Let's go and press the up arrow because we have to use that same location, but we can remove this www data stuff. But what we're going to do is set our permissions now, and we need to use a command called chmod. And this will modify our permissions. So -r for recursive, which will do the exact same thing as the other one. It'll go from top down within the directory tree of that Nextcloud directory. And let's just go down and set it to 775. That should be good for website. And let's go down and press enter, and that will change the permissions of that directory. All right, the next thing we need to do is go on and create a configuration file for our Nextcloud servers. I already have one built out. I put a copy somewhere if you guys want it, or you can grab one out of the documentation on Nextcloud's website. But Apache, what you have to do is create a configuration file for each website, especially if you're using like virtual hosts. You have to have a configuration file for it. So I'm gonna just name it Nextcloud conf and press enter. And let's go down and copy what I got in my text file and paste it in there, and I can walk you guys through it. So it's gonna run on port 80. This is the document roots, or the actual root of the website, which is that directory that we created. So var www HTML and then that Nextcloud directory. Server, all you have to do is type in your server name or IP address. So let's go up, type in our IP address, because we don't have a domain. So I'm gonna just type 192.168.10. and then 244. And this is just some other settings right up in here. So the directory, follow symlinks, allow overrides, which you need this turned on. So I give you guys an example. Set the environment home, which is that location, the HTTP home, that location, as well as the log files. It'll create its own custom log files and error files, error logs. So just go down and Control X to save this, press enter, boom, good to go. Now that we have our configuration file created, we need to enable the site. Let's go sudo a2 enable, and it's site. So that's the command. Like Apache has some built-in commands, that's what you use. But all we have to do is specify our configuration file. So nextcloud.conf, it automatically recognizes it. So let's go down and press enter. It'll enable the site. Now, the only way you'll be able to see it at this point is once you restart Apache. But we also had to do a couple more things right fast. So we need to enable some mods. And this is some of those extensions that we installed. So like rewrites or modification mods that we added to the server. Let's go A2, and there is another command for enable mod. And then we want rewrite, and then headers, env, dir, and mime. Let's go down and press enter. It'll enable all those, and it'll also check to see if the other ones are enabled. So really, the only two it had to enable was the rewrites and the headers. These are already enabled, but we're just verifying it. Now we can restart our server, and it gives you the command right there if you want, so you guys know. But all you have to do is type sudo systemctl and then restart our Apache server. And 2, we have to put that there, and it only takes a second. We check our status, so we can press up arrow, type status right here, press enter, and you'll see that's active and running, and we're good to go. Now, one other thing you want to check, you want to make sure your firewall is enabled or not, or at least check the status of it, because if it's enabled, you won't be able to get to the IP address, the port 80, because port 80 is not open. So let's type sudo ufw status and press enter. It's inactive, so we can get to it, but I want to activate it. So ufw allow, and then open ssh, press center, and then also allow I believe it's Apache. Yeah, there we go. So that should open up port 80. Now we can enable our firewall, and you want to make sure you do open SSH as well if you're SSH'd into the server, because you can kill your connection, lose connection to the server, especially if it's a remote server. So you want to do that before you enable UFW. So sudo UFW and then enable, and this will enable our firewall. We can type Y for yes, because it's basically giving you that last warning: command may disrupt existing SSH connection. So we're gonna type Y for yes. Boom, we're good to go. So firewall is active. And then we can also check the status again. Boom, it'll let you know that Apache is open, as well as open SSH, and all other ports are closed on the server. Now let's go down and switch back over to our browser, and all we have to do is go over and type in our IP address to the server. So let's go back to our terminal and type IPA. That'll give us our IP address. So just find out what it is on your server, and then we can switch back over to our website, type in that IP address, and boom, there we go. So it comes up. You don't have to type that folder in. I forgot, that's what those rewrites are for. It'll clean up the link for you. Now, one thing about the server, it doesn't have an SSL cert. I have to show you guys in another video how to do that. This is taking long enough right here, but first thing it's going to ask you to do is create an admin account, and I'm gonna just name it admin, and then let's just type in a password, just a random password, right? And then our storage and database, we gotta verify that we got this set up properly, and we need to type in our database account, which is that NC user that we created earlier, and then also the password for that, which was password 12345. And like I said, I copied it to a text file, and then the database name, which was Nextcloud. So Nextcloud, and then localhost. And we should be able to hit install now, and it should be good to go. And it'll create all the tables, basically everything that we need. And all you have to do is give it a couple minutes and it'll go through. All right, so it looks like it completed. And no, I don't want you to store my password, but you can install all the recommended apps, or you can skip that. I'm gonna go down and install recommended apps. There are a whole bunch of apps out there, and this is something that's super cool. And while this is going, I'll show you guys that right fast. But if you go over to resources on Nextcloud website, go to App Store, you can see all the applications that they have. So you got your featured apps, customizations, dashboard files, games, integration, monitoring, pretty much security, pretty much any and everything you think you might need. And this is all community developed out there, free for you to use. And so yeah, it's going through installing those apps. I'll come back when it finishes. I just wanted to look like something when we get it up and going, so you guys can see something at least before I end the video. So we are done. So this is like the pop-up. It'll go through a collaboration platform that puts you in control. So privacy, productivity, community, and interoperability, import, export, anything you want with open standards. So Nextcloud on all devices. This will allow you to install the app on your phone, download the app, desktop app, and then you got your calendar app. Nextcloud 8, read more, check it out, share it on your social media. They want you to be excited about it, which this is awesome platform. I have one of these set up for myself. I'm not going to show you guys that one because I have a lot of personal stuff on it, but there you go, man. You got your recommended files, talk mentions. This is like your dashboard. It'll show pretty much what's popping up. So if you have mail set up on here, calendar, events, all that stuff will show up on here under the dashboard. You can go into your files, and I just quickly go through it. Looks just like Google Cloud, man. And then you can create a directory, share that directory with people, and it doesn't matter if they're outside of the network. They can access those files depending on the permissions that you set up. Photos, you have all your media in here. So Google Photos right here. Look at that, all this stuff. I know Google has a lot of cool features, especially with modifying photos and the editing stuff that they have, because I have one of those Google Pixels, and I tell you, it's awesome when it comes to editing the photos and all that stuff. But this is a good alternative that allows you to own your files, you know what I'm saying, without them being on one of these big cloud platforms. This is, I believe you can collaborate with others, you can create teams, whole bunch of other stuff, file sharing, calendar, all the stuff you need in order to interact with people and collaborate with people. Mail, you can set up mail contacts. You can add all your contacts in here. You can import them all. Calendar, notes, and it's cool because you got notes that you can type right up in here. And then you can also add Nextcloud notes on your phone, and it'll sync to this once you create another account. And this is the admin account. I recommend you not use the admin account. I recommend you have a super strong password for this, and then create your user account with whatever you need as far as space and all that stuff, and keep this admin account available for just management of the server. That's my recommendation. And if you go under here, under your accounts, administrative settings, so you can go into here. This is where you can control pretty much everything: theming, artificial intelligence, administrative privileges, logging, a usage survey. I recommend you set up an cert as well. And this server is small, you know what I'm saying? It's just a virtual machine, so it doesn't have much memory on it. So PHP memory limit is below the recommended value of 512, so it's all good. But I would recommend you set it up based on your needs and give it the right hardware requirements so to run properly. And so there you have it. You successfully installed and set up your Nextcloud on your Ubuntu server 24.04. And with this powerful tool, you can take control of your data and have your own personal cloud storage. Not only do you get to enjoy the convenience of cloud services, but you also get to keep your data private and secure. And if you found this video helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the KeepItTechie channel for more Linux tutorials and tech tips. And also leave a comment down below if you have any questions or if there's a specific topic you'd like me to cover next. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And of course, keep it techie.